Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Once again, I'm Nev from Nev's Tech Bits, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood basement dweller. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet. And today we're checking out Popular Mechanics 1986. Now, what we like to do is take a look back and see how technology and society have changed over the decades. It's really hard to believe that 1986 was so long ago. It feels like just yesterday. Now, I love to talk shop. I'm more of a computer guy with some basic fundamentals about practical things outside the computer world. And if I screw up here, I'll get you to bust my balls and teach me some things. Always appreciate it. America's tough tradition. I got a lot of respect for American trucks because I used to know a lot of people that used trucks for this, that, or the other thing. But the ones I knew never bought the new stuff. They had kind of old stuff and they knew how to take care of it. Kind of like the traditionalist biker. Bikers knew exactly how far they could push their vehicles. And I knew a lot of guys that had American trucks, a lot of people I respected, and they knew how far they could push it. They didn't have much problems with their trucks, but they usually had a secondary car like a Chevette that they had issues with. But that's okay, because back in the day, you could have about 3 Chevettes on your property and just switch up the parts, no problem, get them for next to nothing. I know in Canada it seems to be a lot harder to have vehicles, to purchase vehicles and keep them around because of insurance. In fact, in the town I'm in, Harrison, Ontario, we used to have a really awesome demolition derby every year. We got really frickin' good at it, but we can't do it anymore because insurance rates are just through the frickin' roof. I remember when these things were supposed to get really popular. The BD 2000 Autocycle, a motorcycle based vehicle, is a two-place tandem. Very nice. There's some things that would be a lot of fun until your friends find out, like riding a moped. And when you're a teenager, making love to an overly large woman. That's what the frat boys used to say, right? Hey, more cushion for the pushing, right? Seriously, though, get me a woman that can make me a good meal, and I will never complain about a thing. I mean, I can cook, but I'll probably not all that well. Get a taste of merit. If you were to go by these old magazine advertisements, you would think that you would get the same type of feeling from inhaling a cigarette as you see on here. Kind of like taking a cover of maybe like a Harlequin romance novel and taking a look at it and then reading the inside, and it just kind of gives you an idea, a taste. I wouldn't know anything about that, but man, when I was young, I remember looking at those novels Mom would get, and I'm like, huh, that looks like an adventure. That guy's a giant pirate. Nissan introduces the most important truck advance in 25 years. So this is still about the time when you'd have I believe it was called a carburetor, and if you didn't use it right, you could flood the engine. You remember that? Oh man, my dad never seemed to have a problem with that, but my mom going to school, when I was going to school, and if she was late because she flooded the engine, oh man, you better watch out, son. The most powerful of compact trucks. Yeah, we got a Ford Ranger. I almost wonder why we didn't get a something like a Mazda or something like that. Oh well, Ford Ranger does what it needs to, but it's interesting. If you drive a truck versus a car, people treat you a little bit differently. And I'm noticing when I'm driving along on the road that people in big trucks just think they can get out in front of people and kind of bully them on the road, which is frickin' silly. Not all of them, of course. Oh man, I love images like this. Like, how did they get that? They must have overlaid this must be a double exposure. They must have taken the hood off and taken a secondary photo. But still, the artistic integrity within these magazines, especially in the 80s and the 90s, is off the hook, top shelf, and I love it. The spec of a Nissan hood bodies. I know someone's going to really want to see this, so I'm just going to hang here for a quick sec. King cabs, regular 4x4, long bed 4x2. Okay. Man, there's so many people out in the potter's grounds over here that just think, hey, it's snowing. I'll just put on my 4x4 wheels and I'll be in God mode. Doesn't matter if I have summer or all wheel drive. I'm sure you guys know what that's like. Car CD for a song. The CDA 50 adapter by Sparktronic sends digital audio to the radio. So what do we got there? Okay, I finally found out where they use these typical barrel plugs. I've had to get these for my solar, 5-volt solars. And wait a sec, I thought that was RC, or I thought that was headset jack. Huh. Remember these things? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Damn, those things could get hot. Huh. Once you hear a Delco system, you can't be lured away. Oh my goodness. Oh, so it's a laugh to see. But let's face it, buddy would probably be hanging out the back door on that thing. Jeez, I'd be worried about getting that thing sunk. I watched a video of some East Asians trying to get a steamroller onto a boat. Did not end up going too well for them. Probably because they didn't have enough PPE. Oh, here we have a Marlboro advertisement. We don't got the standard Marlboro man. Looks like this guy's actually wearing some chaps. Chaps? Is that what you call those pants? That look like they've actually been used. Not like the shirt. Man, I tell you what, the only farmers I've ever known that can look like super nice but smell like they come from a barn are like the Mennonite or the Amish. I'm not casting shade. I have no idea how they do it. How do you work in the barn and just look so good when you're going to Walmart? The Army Reserve Weekend Warriors. Man, that seems to be an honorable position. Damn you, autofocus. Why would anyone want to do drugs when they could just mow the lawn? Ride it into the next century. I tell you what, Bobby. Is this the key to your new car? Yeah, sometimes you get into the older Japanese cars and it feels like you're riding in a tin can, that's for sure. What is it? A Honda Accord? Very reliable, very good, very small. Gets you from point A to point B. How come Americans are so much bigger than Japanese people? So I'm in an old Victorian home. Love old Victorian homes. One thing we notice is that the doors and the ceilings are really high, but that's to let the light in because these things were built before we had much internal lighting. But at the same time, the banisters going downstairs are so short because everyone was so short. If you got a Victorian home, you're trying to sell it, a lot of the times you got to take that out and put something new in because man, you can damn near sit on those things. But so over here, it was like that because we didn't feed kids as well as we do now, and we had a lot more parasite stuff like that, and we have all that stuff dealt with. Modern medicine has come a long way, but why are Japanese people generally shorter? And why can't we talk about this stuff? I mean, everyone's so about racism and all that stuff. You can't say anything. After a certain point, you almost gotta wonder if someone is pushing something to make it so that we can't talk. If you don't mind me talking about situations we got going on in Canada right now, we got like McKinsey and Company pushing the Century Initiative to bring more people into the country to bring up gross domestic product. And meanwhile, our housing is just in the toilet 100%. We keep bringing people in and we don't have any place to put them because nobody wants us to build new places. And I'm starting to think that the people investing in real estate are the same people bringing these things in. One of the people at the top of McKinsey and Company is a real homeowner, and of course that's going to help him out. No, I'm sorry, I'm going on too much about this, but seriously, look up McKinsey and Company if you want to know what's going on. They're a global group that all places around the world seem to use to get information about how to run the country. In Canada, we're kind of ticked off that our leaders are using them instead of using their leadership powers to just do what they're supposed to do. Check it out, a Magnavox. It actually has a printer built right in. I'd be worried about the thing just exploding. I hate printers. Anybody who's a computer guy hates printers. Honda generators. I would pay this price to get a generator these days. Isn't this close to the price of what a generator costs these days? Huh. Inflation is different now that we have Chairman Mao's Great Leap Forward, right? A classic no enthusiast should be without GM trucks. Sometimes when I think about the different trucks and the ones I like to use, while I don't trust Ford more than Dodge, I think Dodge has probably done better for me. I really don't like the fact that the Dodge brothers were the ones that kept Ford from giving his employees more money and favoring the investors. Ford thought that the investors didn't actually, oh, that's an interesting Corvette. He thought that the investors didn't actually bring much to the table when it came to manufacturing. But Ford found that if you paid your employees a proper amount, that you would get a good amount of work, basically. And of course, in Michigan, the Dodge brothers took him to court, and in the Michigan Supreme Court, uh, they decided that the investors get all the money. But if you learn about investing, investors, you find out that investors don't particularly work very hard. They kind of sit on their butt and bring the money in different ways. And there's different ways you can make money, and it's almost as if they're the ones that are saying, "Hey, go out and work, and you'll make money." And then you listen to the investors, and man, you know what's really messes me up? I invest Bitcoin and I got about $8,000 Canadian worth of Bitcoin, and that gets me more money on returns than actually doing my Bitcoin mining with my solar panels out back, which is freaking infuriating, man. Anyways, channel locks. I want to know what year we actually started putting insulation on these things, because if I look at units from the 70s, they don't have that. They're being advertised without. And, be manly and all that stuff. No pain, no gain. But at the same time, if you're using those things all day, you kind of get a bit of wanker's cramp. It just hurts the hands. You can say what you want, but I, don't- I don't like that kind of pain, man. Crossing that river was about the closest I've ever came to waltzing with a rainbow trout. I love getting into a truck with a redneck, man, and then going out to the back 40. Thank God for rednecks. Seriously, no kidding. If we ever have an outbreak of zombies, I swear to God, it's not going to be cool guys like this that's going to save us. It's going to be the rednecks. Winston's America's best. Look over there. Let's sit down there and I can have a cigarette and not piss anybody off like my wife. Now we can see who's there. Huh. That's interesting. That's not just a peephole, it's a. What is that thing? Almost looks like it's going to spray something right into his eyes. Oh, but seriously, now you can see the guy that your wife is going to cheat on you with. I knew a guy over in Orangeville who, through COVID, his wife was sleeping with a UPS guy. Man, I swear, COVID and TikTok changed relationships forever for people under a certain age. And the more I see this stuff, the more I think standard normies just shouldn't be given social media. While technology is great, there's just some people who just can't handle it. And when you get Twitter, TikTok, and all that stuff in, like this unit, this battle station here is really cool, and it's not going to affect this guy's life when he gets home. But some people, they just get so addicted to stuff. And Chat GPT, whatever, is really messing with some people. Submarine rescues a dragonfly, the Mitt Welder. I wonder how many of these are still in use these days. I bet not much has changed for the technology on those except for maybe batteries. Maybe they swapped any batteries out and hooked them up with some lithiums. Man, could you imagine the nightmare of being in a sub that was sunk? Now that's interesting. Sirens lure sea missiles. Huh, a decoy. A decoy that would release a signal. I wonder if we ever ended up actually using these things. It's just like tossing a flare if you were inside of a aircraft. Okay, now I'm curious how many flares that your average like F-16 would carry with it. Of course, you only get like 4 missiles tops, right? But geez, flares would be just kind of smaller things, I imagine. Marines seek more punch. Ain't that the American ways? Oh, the last person on Earth I would want to mess with would be a Marine, I tell you what. Now, those projectiles, it's really cool. After they fire their shot, you still get the shell. I have the shell, the unit, not one of these, but for I believe they call it a law, what a 16 law or something like that. And it looks really cool, but geez, try getting that thing across the board. I heard of a Marine taking something like this home after they fired a round in it. Of course, it's totally inert. There's nothing dangerous in it, but what do you think Customs did? Yeah, it made the news. Like, come on, guys. Come on. Okay, I gotta say, this is pretty cool. I've never seen this before. It's the basic shell of an F1 racer. Man, could you imagine just having one of those in the backyard and having the grandkids come by getting it? Great for a photo op. That is so cool. That is so cool. I wonder if this has changed much. Now I notice that they have holes here, here, and here. I wonder if that's to keep it lighter or if it's to add cripple zones. Now, I knew a gentleman that had he really loved his, I believe it was a Ford, and he had that thing pretty well stripped, and he had mentioned that this one was made in the 70s, I believe you said, and you'll notice that there's holes in the frame because they wanted to save money on weight and steel. I wonder these days would they make the frame out of aluminum? Because I worked at a place where they changed the ball joint and the arm to an aluminum arm. The heart of rock and roll. Man, I was at a Baptist school church that had something like this, and I always got to wonder, does this guy actually know what all of those things do? All of them? Or has he just kind of got an idea? I bet that there's about four panels on there that he knows, and the rest of them are like, I can use them if I want to. But yeah, if you were to look at that, you'd be like, wow, this guy's so intelligent. He knows what's going on. I'll tell you what, Bobby, nobody did rock and roll better than Cyndi Lauper. Man, she was on WWF. You want to talk about girl power, you want to talk about equality, then yeah, get the Spice Girls in the WWF, even just as managers. Seriously, I think more people would watch that kind of stuff. You get Scary Spice coming off the top rope with a steel chair. Yeah. Is that Michael Jackson in the Jackson 5? No, there's only four of them. Oh, did I just do a racism? Let your fingers do the walking. It sounds like an excellent way to get carpal tunnel, but I love that universal remote, and I want one of them so badly now. You could probably get those things to work with newer things too. You just have to figure out the right codes and whatnot. There was one time I figured out how to hack garage doors, and I wanted to go around and open people's doors to freak them out. Then I realized how illegal that would be and how dangerous it would be because people could, side entrance, take your belongings. But man, there was an innocent time, maybe in the '60s, you could do that and not worry so much about that stuff. Pepperidge Farm remembers. The average high school student would take a look at this stuff and have no idea what any of it is. Any of it. I remember using one of those. And I remember seeing these in cartoons quite a bit. Family of seven cuts water bills in half. What is that, an on demand system, basically? Okay. Okay. Alright. Hey, save money. I'm great with that. I wonder why this stuff never really caught on. Well, that's it from me. From Nev's Tac Bits. Feel free to bust my balls if I missed something here or teach me something I didn't know. Always appreciated. And as always, folks, take care of each other, will you? We might be all that we got.